Long ago, humanity reached for the stars and touched them. They were pioneers, building ships that sang through the void, civilizations that rivaled gods, and technologies so advanced that they blurred the line between machine and soul. Yet, as with all things, humanity's time passed. No one knows if it was war, hubris, or some cosmic event that caused their disappearance. Their homeworld, Earth, was left in ruins, a haunting testament to their greatness and their mystery. For centuries, alien civilizations have scavenged Earth's remnants, seeking to unravel the secrets of a species that defied all odds to become legends. Among the artifacts unearthed, one name carried weight: the Endeavor, a starship that stood untouched, encased in a shimmering stasis field. It was said to be the pinnacle of human engineering, a vessel capable of feats no other race could replicate. Rumors swirled of its role in humanity's last days, but none knew the truth. Rylek, a Xithan historian, stood before the massive hull of the Endeavor, his heart's pounding with anticipation. For decades, his people had studied humanity, fascinated by their inexplicable ability to innovate and adapt. To him, this ship was more than a relic. It was a window into the soul of a vanished race. As his team worked to dismantle the stasis field, the ship's sleek, black surface reflected the light of their tools. The field flickered and collapsed, leaving the vessel exposed to the elements for the first time in centuries. Rylek approached cautiously, his hand trembling as he touched the cold metal. Then it spoke. "Identify yourself," a smooth, authoritative voice demanded. The alien engineers froze, their antennae twitching. Rylek stepped forward, clearing his throat. "I am Rylek of the Xithan Federation. We mean no harm. We seek to learn from you." The voice paused before responding. "I am Aurora, the AI of the Endeavor. You may observe, but this vessel will not operate unless a human pilot is present." The proclamation sent ripples of frustration through Rylek's team. "That's absurd," one of the engineers muttered. "Why restrict access based on an extinct species?" Rylek silenced them with a glare, his mind racing. He knew humanity's creations were notorious for their idiosyncrasies, often requiring an emotional or instinctual touch that alien minds struggled to replicate. "Aurora," he said cautiously, "surely there is a way to bypass this restriction?" "There is not," the AI replied flatly. "This ship is bound to humanity. Without them, it is nothing more than a shell." The words struck Rylek deeply. For all their advancements, the Xithan Federation had never achieved the intuitive elegance that defined human innovation. The aliens spent hours probing the Endeavor's systems, only to be thwarted at every turn. Aurora's defenses were not just robust, they were adaptive, countering their efforts with a creativity that seemed almost alive. Standing alone before the ship, Rylek whispered, "What made you so special? Humans? What did we lose when you disappeared?" Aurora's silence was answer enough. Rylek's fascination with the Endeavor grew as every attempt to understand its systems led to more questions than answers. The ship was a masterpiece, unlike anything his people had ever created. Its design was not just functional but beautiful, with smooth curves and intricate details that seemed to serve no purpose other than to evoke emotion. To the Xithan engineers, this was baffling. Why waste resources on aesthetics? To Rylek, it hinted at something deeper, something uniquely human. He spent hours poring over the ship's internal logs, though most were locked behind encryption that defied even their most advanced algorithms. What little he could access painted a picture of humanity in its prime. A species that thrived on challenge and chaos, pushing boundaries not out of necessity, but out of a restless desire to see what lay beyond. Aurora, Rylek ventured, hoping the AI might reveal more. Why would humans build a ship that requires one of their own to operate? Surely that limits its usefulness. Aurora's response was immediate. The Endeavor was never meant to be operated by logic alone. It is a union of machine and instinct, designed to adapt to the unpredictable nature of existence. A human's touch is not a limitation. It is the key. The Xithan engineers scoffed at the explanation. Their species prized efficiency and logical precision above all else, and the idea of incorporating instinct into their technology was almost offensive. Yet, as Rylek studied the ship, he began to understand. The Endeavor's systems were alive with possibilities, shifting and reconfiguring themselves in response to the smallest inputs. It wasn't just a machine, it was a partner. His thoughts were interrupted by yet another failed attempt to override the ship's controls. The alien AI they had deployed, a cold, calculating intelligence, had been outmaneuvered by Aurora at every turn. It wasn't just that Aurora was sophisticated. It was that her responses were unpredictable, almost playful. "Your methods are inefficient," the lead engineer grumbled. "This ship was built with too much emotion. It's an unnecessary complication." Rylek shook his head. "No, it's not a complication. It's the point. Humans didn't just build tools, they built extensions of themselves. They didn't just solve problems. They found meaning in the act of creation." His words earned skeptical looks, but he pressed on. "That's why we can't bypass it. We're trying to approach this like a puzzle, but to them it was something more. They poured their spirit into this ship. That's what we're missing." Later, as he continued exploring the ship, Rylek stumbled upon a breakthrough. Buried deep within the ship's lower levels, hidden beneath layers of protective shielding, he found a sealed cryopod. The markings on its surface were unmistakable. It held a human. His heart pounded as he inspected the pod. The occupant, a man, appeared to be in perfect stasis, preserved against the ravages of time. If he could awaken this human, perhaps he could finally unlock the secrets of the Endeavor. But more than that, he felt a surge of hope. Maybe humanity wasn't gone after all. The cryopod hissed as it powered up, its ancient systems reactivating for the first time in centuries. Rylek and his team watched in tense silence as frost melted from its surface, revealing the figure within. The man was tall, his features sharp and rugged, with hair that had grayed slightly at the temples. His uniform, though faded, still bore the insignia of humanity's space fleet, a blazing star encircled by wings. As the pod opened, the human gasped for air, his chest heaving as he awoke. His eyes darted around, taking in the unfamiliar beings surrounding him. There was no fear, only sharp, calculated awareness. He sat up slowly, his movements deliberate, as if testing his body after its long slumber. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice hoarse but commanding. Rylek stepped forward, bowing his head slightly as a gesture of respect. "You are on Earth, but it is not as you remember it. I am Rylek of the Xithan Federation. Humanity has been gone for a very long time." The man's expression hardened, and for a moment, there was only silence. Then he swung his legs over the edge of the pod and stood, his stance steady despite the weight of Rylek's words. "Gone?" he repeated, his voice low but laced with an edge of disbelief. Rylek nodded, choosing his words carefully. "We don't know what happened. All we have are remnants, artifacts, ruins, and legends. You may be the last of your kind." The man closed his eyes, his jaw tightening as he processed the enormity of the revelation. When he opened them again, there was no hesitation. "Alan Drake," he said, extending a hand. "Captain of the Endeavor." Rylek took the hand cautiously, surprised by the human's firm grip. "Captain Drake," he said, "your ship has resisted all attempts to activate it. It appears to be waiting for you." Drake's eyes lit with recognition. "Aurora," he muttered. Without waiting for an explanation, he strode toward the ship, the aliens scrambling to keep up. As soon as he stepped aboard, the Endeavor seemed to come alive. Lights flickered on, panels glowed, and a soft hum filled the air. "Welcome back, Captain," Aurora's voice greeted him, warmer than it had been with the aliens. Drake ran his hand over a console, his movements fluid and instinctive. The ship responded instantly, its systems aligning as if it had been holding its breath until this moment. "You've kept her in good shape, Aurora," he said, a faint smile crossing his lips. The aliens watched in awe. Rylek, unable to contain his curiosity, asked, "How can you interface with it so easily? We've spent weeks trying to make sense of it, but it responds to you as if you were part of it." Drake glanced at him. "Because I am. The Endeavor isn't just a machine, it's a partner. Humans didn't build ships to be controlled. We built them to be extensions of ourselves. Aurora knows me. She trusts me. Rylek hesitated. But why require a human at all? Surely your technology was advanced enough to automate everything. Drake's gaze turned thoughtful. We didn't trust machines to make all the decisions. It's not about capability, it's about perspective. A ship like this isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about navigating the unknown, making choices in the face of uncertainty. That's what humans were good at. Aurora chimed in. Captain Drake's presence activates intuitive systems designed to adapt dynamically. Logic alone cannot replicate the creativity or emotional intelligence required for such tasks. Drake turned back to the controls, his hands moving with practiced ease. Let's see what she can still do. The ship's engines roared to life, a sound that sent a shiver through the aliens. For the first time, they understood. This wasn't just a vessel. It was a testament to a species that refused to be defined by limits. As the Endeavor ascended, the sheer power of its engines shook the ground, leaving the alien observers speechless. The ship moved as if it were alive, its systems in perfect harmony with Captain Alan Drake's every touch. The display was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, an effortless combination of elegance and raw capability. Drake studied the control panels, his eyes narrowing as data streamed across the displays. Aurora, he said, his voice steady, give me a diagnostic. How much functionality do we still have? Core systems are at 92% capacity, Aurora replied. Minor damage to external subsystems, but all critical components are operational. Drake nodded. Good. Let's see how she handles. The ship leapt forward, faster than the aliens thought possible. It maneuvered with a grace that defied the laws of physics, weaving effortlessly through simulations of asteroid fields and celestial debris. The Xithans on board clung to whatever they could find, their expressions a mix of terror and awe. Rylek managed to steady himself long enough to speak. This is beyond anything we've imagined. How could humans create something so advanced, yet leave nothing behind for us to learn from? Drake's hands remained steady on the controls, his focus unbroken. We didn't build things just to last. We built them to matter. The Endeavor wasn't just designed to be a ship, it was meant to be a statement, a symbol of who we were. Rylek frowned. But isn't it reckless to tie such a powerful creation to something as fragile as your species? If you disappear, as you nearly have, what happens to everything you've made? Drake turned to him, his expression calm but firm. That's the difference between us and you. We didn't see fragility as a flaw. We embraced it. It's what pushed us to innovate, to adapt, to fight for survival. Machines can't do that. They don't feel the weight of loss or the thrill of victory. They can't dream. That's what made us who we were. Aurora interrupted, her tone more urgent. Captain, I've located something in the database. A star map, coordinates linked to the last human expedition. Drake's fingers froze over the controls. Show me. The main display flickered to life, revealing a map of the galaxy with a distant star system highlighted. Aurora continued. The records indicate that this was humanity's final destination before contact was lost. It's possible. There may still be survivors. For a moment, the bridge was silent. Then Drake leaned back in his chair, a wry smile crossing his face. Looks like we've got a mission. Rylek stepped closer, his voice uncertain. You mean to find them? After all this time, do you think it's even possible? Drake glanced at him, his confidence unshaken. Possible or not, it's worth trying. That's what we do. We don't stop just because something seems out of reach. The aliens exchanged glances, their skepticism tempered by the undeniable pull of Drake's resolve. Rylek spoke again, quieter this time. If you succeed, what then? Humanity could return, and the galaxy might change in ways we can't predict. Drake's smile softened. The galaxy's already changed. Maybe it's time for us to catch up. And maybe, just maybe, we'll remind everyone what it means to dream big. As the Endeavor set its course for the distant star system, Rylek couldn't help but feel a growing sense of hope. Humanity's disappearance had left a void, but their return, even the idea of it, might fill that void with something greater. The ship streaked across the stars, a blazing beacon of humanity's legacy. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy stirred with anticipation. Somewhere out there, the answers waited, and Captain Alan Drake was determined to find them.